In April 1988, Ivan Lester McGuire is making his third jump of the day at Franklin County Sports Parachute Center in North Carolina, USA. The 35-year-old McGuire was an experienced skydiver with over 800 successful jumps under his belt. He will be jumping with a student and instructor, filming their descent for educational material for the Parachute Center. Today, a high-quality recording of this nature can be captured with small, inexpensive cameras readily available on the consumer market. But in 1988, this required heavy equipment, which is stored in McGuire's backpack. The plane carries the three to an altitude of over 10,000 feet, at which point they jump. McGuire goes first to capture the others as they leave the plane. McGuire remains in close proximity to the student and instructor until they deploy their chute and disappear above McGuire. Assumedly, this is the point where McGuire would also deploy his chute to maintain the two in frame. However, as he reaches for the cord, he suddenly notices he does not have one. He exclaims, "Oh my God, no," as the realization sinks in that he does not have a parachute and no one can help him as he hurtles towards the ground. Ivan McGuire is killed in the fall. His recording equipment is severely damaged, but pieces of the film are recovered to ascertain why the skydiver's body is found without a parachute. It's quickly discovered that McGuire had not somehow lost his parachute during the jump. He jumped without one, with his filmed confusion and distress seemingly indicating that this was unintentional. So how and why did such an experienced skydiver leave the plane without a parachute? Attention immediately turned to the plane's pilot. A Federal Aviation Administration inspector said of the incident, "There is a regulation, number 105, that states that no one may jump unless the pilot checks the parachutes," implying gross negligence on the part of a pilot who allowed a man to jump from the plane without even a pack on his back. But Ivan McGuire did have a backpack, one of similar mass and weight to a parachute pack, but it was filled with recording equipment, not skydiving equipment. Ultimately, the incident was ruled an accident with no foul play suspected. It's thought that McGuire's camera pack was misidentified as a parachute pack by everyone involved, including McGuire himself. Given that this was his third jump of the day, McGuire may have allowed the repetition of events to dull his alertness, confusing the familiar weight on his back with that of a parachute without giving it a second thought. It was only as he reached for a pull string that did not exist that McGuire realized something was wrong. His mind may have replayed the day's events, at which point he'd know he had no recollection of bringing along the parachute. A horrible, sinking feeling that anyone who's left a set of keys, wallet, or phone behind will be familiar with. Only this was not a simple inconvenience. It was a nightmare, a desperate hoping, pleading that somehow this isn't real, that the mistake you've made was as painfully obvious to you when you made it as it is now, that you had taken the few seconds to correct that mistake when the fact that you know you didn't is becoming clearer and clearer to you. With such a long fall, Ivan Lester McGuire had a long time to contemplate this, knowing that this mistake meant that these would be his last moments.
Say! 1, 2, 3, yalla! No, no, no! No, no! Será uma vida, autor? É? Quem está achando? Молния будет так будет. Bien, bien. Bien. Ah, ça peut jouer. Hein. Nos vemos. Yes. Aguanta, aguanta.
French daredevil known for aerial stunts has fallen to his death while preparing for a dangerous tightrope walk between two hot air balloons. He fell while getting ready to perform the risky stunt in southern France. He was on the ground holding a hot air balloon when it suddenly took off and he was unable to disentangle himself from the line.
Two engineers' last moments on windmill. This disturbing moment was captured in the Netherlands. The two men, only 19 and 21, seemed to embrace each other. They were conducting routine maintenance to the 80-meter-high turbine when a fire broke out. The fire quickly engulfed the only escape route, the stairs in the shaft, trapping the two maintenance crew on top of the turbine. One of them jumped down, the other burnt on top of the wind turbine. A short circuit was deemed to be the cause of the accident. Linda Michelita Rogers' last moments. The Uplift Williams preparatory 6th grader was giddy as she prepared for the day's All-Star National Championship in Dallas, recording 3 short but last videos that she probably planned to share with her friends.
I'm gonna get ready for the NCA, National Cheerleaders Association, today. So I'm gonna start with here, turn on my lamp because I don't want to turn on all of the lights. So
in the second video, Michelita had turned on more lights and was dressed in a red short-sleeved t-shirt with a long-sleeved black and white cheer uniform with silver sparkles underneath. Michelita showed off her straightening iron and the small braid she'd begun.
all that's left to do is the ponytail, straighten it, curl it, poof it, whatever. So yeah.
The final video, recorded as time-lapse with no sound, shows her standing, looking at herself in the mirror as she fixes her hair. As she walks off screen, yellow sparks of light fill the frame and the screen goes black. A natural gas explosion tore apart her home and claimed her life. The family found Michelita's phone undamaged in the wreckage after the blast. A final photograph of Jolie Callan. 18-year-old Jolie Callan went for a hike with her ex-boyfriend in the mountains of Alabama. These are her last photos, posted by her boyfriend before shooting her in the head and throwing her body over a cliff. He turned himself in the same day. He was sentenced to 52 years in prison. Fall from grace. Although the problem of stowaways on airplanes has become increasingly common, one of the most striking pictures of this phenomenon was taken in February of 1970. Amateur photographer John Gilpin captured the image of 14-year-old Keith Sapsford as he fell from the wheel well of a Japan Airlines flight as it took off from Sydney to Japan. Although Sapsford had undoubtedly intended to ride the plane to Japan, he would have faced sub-freezing temperatures and little to no oxygen, not to mention the dangers of the plane's moving parts. As such, the 200-foot fall may have been the best-case scenario for such stowaways, who are generally traveling from developing countries in search of opportunity. Sadly, death is all that awaits for most, with only a fourth of all known cases surviving their fateful flights. British mountaineer last Instagram post. In spring 2019, Robin Haynes Fisher was trying to summit Mount Everest. His partner, Kristen Carrier, who went with him as far as Everest Base Camp before leaving him to climb with an organized trekking group, to the top of the mountain, but died of altitude sickness caused by overcrowding on the way down. This is the last video he posted on Instagram, day before his death.
Sea Camp 2 in the background. I'm going to talk to my camera. Drop it here. It's going to slow down a long way. It's supposed to be blue ice here. If you detach, there's no way you're going to get a nice exit. You need a jackhammer, so you're just going to sail to the bottom. Not in a nice way.
on Everest. Overcrowding was a big problem on Everest in 2019, where photos showed lines of climbers waiting to get to the top. Climbers waiting to get to the top were running out of the bottled oxygen they brought with them to be able to breathe on top of the mountain. The final moments before the Chapecoense plane crash. The 32-year-old defender from Brazil's Chapecoense Football Club was on the way to the finals of a tournament. He turned on his smartphone's forward-facing camera and hits record before taking off. But he wasn't aware that this is going to be his last flight. Jarring video shows a plane full of joking, laughing footballers preparing for takeoff.
Vai começar a viagem aí, ó. Ô, Fone. Vai começar a viagem pra Colômbia aí, ó. Dia a dia, Caduzinho, Fone. Acre, depois nós vamos pra onde, Cadu? Acre de novo. Volta pro Acre. Cubídia. Volta pro Acre de novo, vamos pra É isso aí, galera. Vai começar agora. Bora. Aí, Xi, manda um alô aí pra galera. Agora vai sair, vai partir. Valeu. Josimito. É nóis. Bora.
Como siempre, transportando a equipos de fútbol, en este caso a Chapecó, llevándolos hasta la ciudad de Medellín, Colombia, y nosotros prestos a brindarles el mejor servicio. Algo muy importante es saber que ellos utilizan una empresa boliviana.
Vamos a hablar
Pilotos, esse aqui é nosso piloto.
Aqui é o goleador.
Goleador chapecoense, goleador jugando.
Final muito importante para nós, conduzido pela Laminha, nós estamos bem. Vamos que vamos.
Isso nos fortalece mais.
Moments after takeoff, flight LMI 2933 lost radio signal and plummeted towards the ground, crashed into a hillside near Medellin. The plane was carrying 72 passengers and 9 crew members, killing almost everyone. Ksenia Ignatieva last photo. In Russia, there exists an internet craze of people, mostly teenagers, taking selfies of themselves in extremely dangerous places, on the top of scaffolding, on pylons, on bridges. Xenia was one such teenager who took the extreme selfie craze one step too far. This is her last photo. Teenager Xenia Ignatieva was a month short of her 18th birthday when she fell and was hit by 1,500 volts rail bridge in Krasnogardensky as she was electrocuted when she tried to grab live wires and plunged to her death.
Horrifying skydiving accident caught on tape. Both parachutes failed, an 8,000-foot drop at 30 miles an hour. Amazingly, Craig Stapleton survived. ABC's Neil Karlinski has his story.
Craig Stapleton, right there below the skydiver wearing the camera, has just broken off from his partner while trying to perform a stunt. At 5,800 feet, a disaster is unfolding. His parachute is tangled. He flips. When he pulls his emergency chute, it goes straight into the tangled canopy.
I pretty much figured I was dead. I mean, nothing has gone right. So the second I left the plane, nothing has gone right. And I just need one thing to go right. Can I just get one thing?
This is what he'd been trying. That's him in the top position during a previous trick jump. It is an incredibly complex and dangerous maneuver where two skydivers link together, unfurl a flag, and fly with it draped between them. Only this time, the 51-year-old dentist and veteran of 7,000 jumps has to cut the flag away to save his life.
I was thinking about my wife and kids and what was going to happen to them. And, you know, even if I lived, it was going to be a big lifestyle change for all of us. And, you know, I was just really sorry that I wasn't, you know, there to say goodbye to him.
At 30 miles per hour, he slammed into what turned out to be pretty soft, freshly plowed dirt. And of all things, a row of grapes at a vineyard. His jump partner, a nurse, couldn't believe her eyes.
I was pretty worried. You know, I thought I was watching my friend about to die.
God, Buddha, Allah, baby Jesus, guardian angel, somebody was watching out for me.
He's sore, but otherwise fine. Not a single serious injury. And no reason, he says, not to jump again, just as soon as he can. For Good Morning America, Neil Karlinski, ABC News, Seattle.
The man you see right now spent many years of his life climbing buildings, towers, skyscrapers, and even the highest bridges to perform stunts, just so he could provide for his family. But what he didn't expect was that the source of his living would also be the cause of his tragic death. These are the final hours of the Chinese daredevil Wu Yongying, who used to train in martial arts and work as an extra in a film industry, until he discovered a faster but much more dangerous way of making money, the so-called rooftopping. From then on, he began his journey on social media. He posted videos of his insane stunts, and with his signature move,
3 pull-ups and landing his feet, he uses his feet to climb and extends one leg up ahead of the other to complete the process.
he managed to make more than 1 million people love and respect him. The more risk he took, the more views he'd get. Wu called himself the first ever Chinese rooftopper. He earned tens of thousands of dollars with his more than 500 videos. But all of this would change when one company offered him $15,000 in exchange for climbing a 62-story building. Wu thought it was a perfect offer because he needed money for his sick mother, and also he wanted to use it for his wedding. He was even planning to propose. This would change when one company offered him $15,000 in exchange for climbing a 62-story building. Wu thought it was a perfect offer because he needed money for his sick mother, and also he wanted to use it for his wedding. He was even planning to propose the day after his stunt. Unfortunately, from here on, things will happen very fast and very tragically. November 8th, 2017, Wu entered the building, took the elevator to over 40 floors, and free climbed 20 more to reach the top. He was calm. It was just like any of his other stunts. He used a piece of fabric to wipe down a ledge. Then he slowly hung his legs off the building. First his right leg, and then the left one. But as you can see, he was struggling to hang on. So after only around 5 seconds, he climbs back up and then tries again. Right leg, left. Then he does his signature move, 3 pull-ups. Only this time he wasn't able to climb back up. He was struggling. He tried to hold on for about 15 seconds. And Nightfam, I don't want to show you exactly what happened next.